Okay, go. So Daybreak is the map choice out of Lamp here. I do like this decision. I think Daybreak is probably the safest Zerg ZVP map right now.
Yeah.
It's good for both aggression and defense. You have
for
a lot
Protoss, of course, it's going to be more of a turtley map if you want to take that third and fourth base. But there's some nice 2-base all-ins though that work as well. You can pressure through that third base of the Zerg.
Yeah, and as far as the Zerg player goes, you need to be really careful about the third over here because it's not the narrowest of chokes.
Yeah, and you can get a flank off on there too.
But the flank over here is you're gonna retain this. If he's trying to attack your third, keep one link over there, retain map vision, so you know if anything's coming along this side, and just set up the flank. It's your best bet.
Yeah, it's honestly like some Protoss players are like, oh well, it's only 4 force fields wide right there, but then you're forgetting that there's actually this huge counterattack path as well.
Actually maybe the narrowest part, maybe 6.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think
maybe further up I'm talking like when the hatch is built and like you can maybe get 3 or 4 force fields.
Yeah, up here, like along here, probably 4. Like from the hatch is right about there, so probably right there is about 4.
I know on the other side too.
Yeah, on the other side, of course, you can build that way.
Yeah.
And so you can. So 8 force fields are probably sectioned off again, but you just keep control of that watchtower and go around. Forge Fast Expand, of course, coming out of Siphon. I don't see enough Protoss players mixing it up and going for a 1-gate expand or a 3-gate expand these days.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they've just fallen out of fashion on these new maps because of the sheer domination of the economy of Forge expands or Nexus first, and it's totally safe to do those kinds of builds.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of pretty much the point to be made is that the economy offered by it versus the risk of going 1-gate expand and falling behind to a Zerg who gets away with hatch first because you can't threaten with cannon rush. I mean, you could always pylon block him. But it's gonna be less effective than if you have the threat of cannons because then Zerg's not gonna worry about it. And it's only really gonna be good defensive against maybe Speedling Fast Expand, Speedling Expand, and maybe like an 11 pool and down. Would probably be the only reason 1-gate expand would be beneficial to the Protoss player. But most Zergs aren't like that. Most Zergs don't want to be greedy. Zergs are going to want to play that macro game. You can see now going on the natural. 2 drones are down here. He's trying to go for the hatch.
Well, they put the pylon down, though, and nice, just blocking that a little longer. But
what you need to do here is send one on attack command and just keep spamming that hatch down. That's all you need to do. It's kind of tricky, but it's actually quite effective of dealing with it.
It's not going to pylon block that. I think that's a wise move in this situation because he did go Nexus first, it looks like. If you had run Forge first, you can always start on that pylon and, delay that even further, but it's going to be okay.
Now, what's interesting here is he actually went for the hatch before ever getting that second overlord, and me personally, I've kind of been accustomed to getting that second overlord and then taking my hatch.
Yeah.
Just because I'm able to get the queens and a queen and 2 sets of lings out pretty much simultaneously. So I can deal with that pylon a little bit more effectively, and a little bit more easily defend my third. So it's interesting to see that Lamp is kind of cutting that corner. Most players, I think probably go Lamp's variation, although I think getting the second overlord before getting before going for the hatchet is a little bit safer and a little bit more effective in the long run.
I mean, having that vision is just crucial as well. I mean, if you manage to pylon block that natural and there's no overload there's always a chance for a cannon to go down unscouted.
Man, that's a good spot for the probe, man. I got to remember to check there. That's a real nice spot.
It is a good spot, and you could come back later on, check the third timing. You could put a pylon down potentially for some 4-gate aggression after the expansion, of course. Yeah,
and more importantly, with going for that the hatch after the overlord, your third base still goes down about the same time. Still goes down about 430 at about 22 supply. So that probe will actually come back in, look for the third hatch. It's absolutely crucial for the Protoss player. You don't see that third hatch going down, you got to be a little bit worried about what could be coming out.
Yeah, you pretty much have to put down another cannon at that point. Like,
yeah, it's going to be some kind of aggression. And does see it, so he's going to feel like, all right, I'm good. Everything's easy peasy for me. I can do what I want. 1 ling at the front of the base. You got to spread those lings out, man. You want to have them all, pretty much all bases covered. Quite literally.
I love how he puts 1 ling at the third as well, because in the new style of playing, there's always these people trying to get these super fast
like
third
8-minute thirds.
Yeah,
Root Puck does that a lot.
Exactly. Actually. I mean, Saucy, another person who's been doing this a lot at MLG. I think he did that quite a few times on this map, and then Cloud Kingdom. You can. You can expand off of like 2 or 3 sentries in an Immortal. It's crazy, but keeping that ling there is going to just delay anything like that. It also lets you get a good idea of if there's some kind of hardcore 2-base timing coming versus a third base.
And I think, speaking of stuff, I think more Protoss players need to adapt to 2 guys and gas, 4 gas and 2 gas. I think it's way more flexible, A, in terms of tech, and B, you can dedicate so much more resources. 2 extra probes on minerals.
Right.
4 across the board if you take all 4 gas.
Exactly. And I've seen him do that where he'll get 3 gas.
You really don't need all 4 gas.
Right.
You don't need 12 probes in gas. You really, really do not need it until you take a third and you're starting to get out that mega army.
I mean, you can get the 3 assimilators down and then have 2 in each at first if you're just going for like an immortal kind of a build, and then add that 4th gas later. And you're having 6 guys in gas, but it's a little bit spread out, and you're getting more efficiency from 6 guys that way versus 6 guys just in 2 geysers.
Yeah, and you sacrifice the extra 75 minerals, but you recoup that so quickly by having the extra probe on minerals, and more important, your gas is actually going to last a little bit longer on all your bases, and that's that's actually pretty crucial. Especially if it goes for that kind of base where Protoss stays on 2 base, but Zerg is really on 2 base. So
yeah, I think that's definitely going to start becoming more and more of an important factor as the matchup develops.
Brood War kind of came to that, knowing how many guys. You could constantly see guys pull guys in and off of gas.
Yeah.
Overlord Scout will come in for the main. This has also been the big thing for Zerg. With that Overlord speed buff, getting 2 scouts off has become the go-to, because this will guarantee the information that Zerg gets.
And that's the most standard spot for it to come in as well. And then the second one being on the bottom right.
And he will come in and see a robotics facility plus 3 additional gateways, so total 4 gates. Pretty safe stuff out of Siphon here.
Getting that observer first as well is going to allow him to send that. He can either send that all the way over to the Zerg's main to check on tech, or he could just kind of keep it towards the middle.
We'll get a Twilight Council. So are you thinking Blink again? I mean, he's getting the 1/1.
It could just be for the upgrades, but it might be Blink. I mean, he did prefer that in the last game, but the thing is, this game he's getting those Immortals out, so I don't know if he's going to be trying a Blink timing, and also taking a third. You don't really need Blink for that. It's decent to have defensively, but it's not as crucial as having sentries and Immortals if you're trying to defend the Roach Max on this map.
Yeah, and you can see Lamp pretty much running on all, firing on all cylinders right now. Has everything going. He hasn't really been bothered with much of any kind of harassment, so he's gearing up to get out. You can see the third base has gone down. Yeah. Lamp probably has an indication of that. Now, as a Zerg player, you're kind of in a position right now of saying he has a third going down. I have 2 choices.
Does he actually know that though?
He has not confirmed it, but he did.
So it still could be a 2 base all in, which is
with a fainted third.
Yeah, and this is the big problem right now. A lot of Zergers are complaining that we're not complaining, but they discuss how it's such this is such an integral part of the game.
Make a break point.
Right, you need to know, you have to make perfect reads right now. Is he actually going to expand, or is there a 2 base all in coming?
He has his Overlord over here, and there's actually there's that spot's no good because you can see it right here. But this spot right there, and I learned about that recently. It's super good.
This is something like that Stefano excels at so well, is just being able to look at the Protoss's gas and making the read just then. He's expanding. He's just on 2 bases. He's teching up. So again, this is just something that people are going to become more and more aware of.
Yeah, and pretty much for Zerg, when the Protoss takes a third like this, it comes down to 2 things. Do I decide to attack it and do damage to it, which has a possibility of failing? That's not guaranteed to work. If he has enough sentries out, or his force fields are solid enough, or you attack at the wrong time, when all these gateways are about to be finished up, which is, he's kind of done a little bit.
These 2 Stalkers are going to get caught out of position. There are a couple cannons here, but it looks like, those force fields actually are whiffed. Going to hurt that army positioning more than help it, I think. But I mean, then again, this is a pretty decent half SimCity. If he plops down a few more pylons and gateways,
I think if he goes here, he'll be okay. I think he wants to leave this a little bit more open.
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing.
Then you can kind of you can poke in and out.
You can invite the Roach army right into there, and those 2 cannons are going to do some work on this area.
Does he have what is the Protoss vision look like? He has an observer out, I think.
He saw pretty much everything. He knows where his Zerg opponent's at.
I mean, his observer positioning though by the watchtower, he needs to be able to see when and if there are units coming towards his natural expansion. No. I mean the Protoss's watchtower. See,
okay. See,
that's in position there, so that if the Zerg decides to split up his roaches, he'll be aware of where units are coming from. Where.
Yeah, observers are essentially like watchtowers, man. They provide not as great vision, but it's pretty solid.
And another thing I'd like to see more of even is in this heavy sentry style, going hallucinate with hallucinated Phoenix can accomplish that as well. But it looks like there's actually going to be
drops.
Does he actually have drops researched though?
It's done. And it'll be done by the time he's ready to do this.
This is becoming the new standard, especially on this map. You can essentially doom drop the Protoss's main, but it looks like it's going to get scouted, I think. I don't know.
No, the observer actually sees. You just see the transition over to the 4th base.
All right, so
and this is like I said, Zerg has 2 decisions upon the fact that Protoss is taking this really quick third.
With sentries and Immortals.
Yeah, with sentries and Immortals. A very, very defensive third is, do I attack into it and try to kill it and come out ahead? Or if that fails, well, I'm really far behind. I've wasted a lot of units. I've wasted a lot of larva.
I mean, drops are what? Like, it's 200 to get all that tech.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much, like, it's going to pay off. As long as you can even use drop defensively against force fields.
And Siphonn's ready for it, man. He has a lot of stuff in the main.
But will he target the right ones? He's going to kill one Overlord, but nothing inside of that one. Now, that's
the
okay,
blood
though.
Fell into oblivion, man.
This is still not a big deal here. I mean, Lamp is just kind of posturing with those units. He's going to try to attack the third base as well.
There are Colossi here. Roaches do have speed.
Yeah,
but
he snipes that one immediately. And now
Immortals, though.
Those cannons, though, are doing a ton of damage. Now, but at the same time, he's going to be dropping the main. This is just going to be so hard. Prost needs to spread his units perfectly. And once these roaches unload, he's not going to have anything to deal with them. Probe's going to go down to the main base. And this is why Overlord drops are the new standard on PvZ. Just dealing so well with Immortal Sentry and having the utility of being able to hop over force
he's
fields.
going to set the robotic phase. He's probably going to lose all these roaches, but totally worth it, man.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. Setting back the Protoss tech, he's going to be really put in a hard spot right now.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to snipe pylons, gates, whatever else.
Maybe even more sentries as well.
Yep, no, actually just going to try to sack those roaches, but... 2 Colossi out, no range on them. Actually, no, wait, range should finish. What was that researching? Gravatic drive?
I think it was either the observer speed, maybe even Gravatic. Probably Gravatic first. But there's still roaches left there in the main, or are those just Overlords?
Those are just Overlords.
Actually, they get sniped. He may get supply blocked here. He's actually getting put in the red. This is a huge mistake. He could have saved all those Overlords.
Yeah, it's 5 Overlords being remade. We'll save a couple of them, now pulling them away. But now, this is that kind of death army that you have to be careful with as Zerg. Roaches...
He did just throw away a big army now.
Roaches with good flanks can stop this, but they're going to need to get the Colossi.
There's no Infestors, and their Spire is just halfway done. So, I mean, skipping Infestation Infestation Pit like that is going to be a very, very greedy move. I mean, going right up to Spire.
58 roaches are out, though,
He wants to have those Corruptors, but sometimes he just can't quite get them.
Oh, there's actually Spine College. He's going to come from behind. Protoss is going to retreat.
Not a lot of force fields, though. Only 2 sentries in this army, and this is why that Roach Drop was so effective, eliminating the sentry count. And I don't know, there's still a lot of Immortals left in this army. Upgrades are going to be still favoring Protoss, I think.
Yeah, it's 3. Wow, he's on +3 already for attack.
But with the reinforcements, 33 roaches on the way. I feel like this is still going to be more than enough. And actually, greater Spire. So
33. Wow, 33 roaches being reinforced now. Protoss having a few stalkers coming over here, but they're actually just going to be okay. One
blinks away, but
I mean, if you look at the
greater Spire going down already, and Protoss has no tech to deal with this. I mean, this is kind of the reason he managed to get away with no Infestors, getting that faster Broodlord tech, but I don't know, he just wants to stall this army as long as possible.
I don't know, Broodlords are still a long way out.
Yeah, he's just so greedy to skip Infestors like that.
Yeah, you really do need the Infestors to hold down that army in place. He can safely retreat to his natural. He'll be okay here. He needs to get his creep spray going, though, because that one Spine Crawler is losing a little bit of health.
Now, that fourth base is definitely not going to be defendable from this position. That's why usually you'll see the 4th base is down there in the middle.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be easy to flank up. You can't really flank up there. It's like you just force field the ramp, or there's actually no sentries.
It's just attacking to a huge choke, but he's going to go for it anyway.
There's only no sentries here, so roaches are going to get right up in close and personal, sniping the Immortals, sniping the Colossus. There's still 4 Corruptors alive here, so he will lose these roaches and Corruptors, but trading for the Colossus is going to be worth it, I think, at the end of the day.
And Lamp just going to GG, actually, not able to sustain. I think he just sacrificed too much to that, and Siphon will take him 2-0.
Honestly, though, I mean, I don't think he was actually out of the game quite yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think he should have GG'd there. I think he should have been...
There were no Colossus behind that. He should have
been a little bit more patient. He should have been a little bit more patient.
I mean, maybe he figured that, the Stalkers were just too many and they would have ran into the third, but... I mean, there was still a Spine Wall, there's Natural, there was Corruptors, and Broodlord Tech was done.
He should have at least fought it to the end. I feel like that was a very preemptive GG.
Yeah.
And more importantly, like, going back to my earlier point, was that when Protoss takes a fast third, you have to either A, kill it, or do damage to it, B, tech up really, really hard and really fast, and Lamp kind of went in between the two. He kind of, walked the tightrope.
He teched up, but he teched up so fast, and taking that 4th in the faraway position is also, like... I mean, you can do it, but that's better if you're
gas there.
It's better to do that if you're playing like the Mutalisk style, right?
Yeah.
Like you're counterattacking everywhere. The Protoss is not ever in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and the engagements, he should have let that. He didn't have a forward base, so it's not like he had to attack that army. He should have let it. Engage way more into his natural.
Even the Spines could have been up there too, but again, it all has to do with skipping the Infestors and just trying to go right to Broodlords. I mean, maybe he thought he did more damage with those Roaches than he actually did.